Let the word of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord. Let the word of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord. My strength and my redeemer, my strength and my redeemer. Psalms 19:14. My strength and my redeemer, my strength and my redeemer. Psalm 19:14. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable, glorious in my heart, O Lord. Good to have you. Let the word of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord. My strength and my redeemer, my strength and my redeemer. Psalm 19:14. My strength and my redeemer, my strength and my redeemer. Psalm 19:14. Oh, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord. It's important. We're going to be talking about the heart today, but also we're going to concentrate on the sixth letter. Today is the sixth day of the fast, Saturday, and so it's the sixth day, the sixth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, VAV, which stands for the connectedness. It's the nail, or the peg. It's the symbol of the peg and for connectedness. And that's a very important letter because it's what this whole world is doing right now. This whole world is trying to become one connected entity. The whole idea of the WWW, that's three VAVs right there, because the VAV represents a W or represents a U. Okay, so W, VAV, VAV, VAV. That's three. The World Wide Web. That's all the interconnection of the internet, the World Wide Web. That's an example of the letter VAV. So the letter VAV has become very famous. It happens to be the sixth letter, right? And VAV is 66. So it's very interesting. We live at the time of the 66. And then we have the VAV. So the whole world is competing with having that connectedness that God has in His creation. God has an amazing connection with everything that He has made. He's aware of everything because all things are His property. You understand that? And so, so today we're going to talk about this world of connectedness. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm sorry that it took me some time to get started, but I had to look at so much material. I didn't know what to choose from. That's the reason. I didn't even send a message, so I'm glad to see Julius showed up. Glad to have you, man. I don't know who else going to show up, but it's good that you came in. But for the rest of you that we'll see later on, tomorrow, I suppose. But I started late, I understand. But I still got to do it because still the number 6, and I had to do it. So I started right now a little late. I will elaborate more as I go. And anyhow, I'm going to share a little bit of what this guy says about what Bill Gates is doing, in trying to get all the governments to have this connectedness. have access to everything, to all kinds of data and information. So he's one of the key people in trying to connect all corporations and administrations, and being able to access the information of people's data. So data harvesting is what their leaders concentrating, because they figure that if they have the information of your desires, of what you wish and what you desire, they'll be able to control the market of goods, of consumables, and they'll be able to take the lead that way, because that's the way they guide themselves. So we're gonna look a little bit about that. So let me put the video on this. Let me put it in the front here, so you can see it while I play this one. And let me lower this other one here. All right. So this guy will explain to you. Let me see here. So I'll put it out of the way so I can see you guys. All right. So if anybody comes in, I can see. All right. Let me play a little bit of what he's going to say. All right. So here we go.
With 1 second delay on every corner of the earth, literally every corner of the earth. And he also, and 5G is not about helping you download your video game quickly. That's what they're telling you on these glossy ads on TV, but that has nothing to do. What do you care if it takes you 20 seconds or 10 seconds to download a video game? It's not going to really change your life. 5G has nothing to do with that. 5G is about surveillance, and it's about data harvesting. The biggest repository of wealth in the world right now is not gold, it's not oil, it's data. And we now have a capacity by connecting all of these devices. It's called the connectedness of things. You connect your Apple Watch to the internet. You connect your microwave oven, it's a smart microwave. You connect your Alexis, which is listening to your conversations all day. Your Siri, which is listening to your cell phone, which is listening to your conversations. You know what your buying habits are. You know your heart rate. You know everything about you, and all that information is data that, if it is characterized in an archive, is useful and saleable, because it's telling these companies the behaviors that will trigger buying reactions by you. They know specifically how to target you, where to target you, what time of the day, what kind of music that you like, what is going to appeal to you and get your attention and get you to buy stuff. And those algorithms are so powerful that they're almost irresistible. And that's what he's harvesting. So he's going to be able to look at, through facial recognition, have complete control of our society. The other day, there were surfers who were, the police were down at Point Down, which is near where I live, and they were giving surfers $1,000 tickets, right? And so that's pretty offensive. But you could say, well, that was just overreaction, just an appalling judgment by these police. Ticketing people from going in the ocean, the sunshine, where you're supposed to be, to boost your immune system. And, but imagine if you don't need the police. Imagine if we live in a world where your movements are being tracked by satellites and by facial recognition and by GPS and by on your car, on your cell phone, so that at every moment of the day, the authorities know where you are and corporations know where you are. So when you go to the beach, they don't have to arrest you. They just send you a $1,000 bill, but they don't just send it to you. They just take it directly out of your cryptocurrency, paycheck account. And we're all being, by this, particularly this pandemic, is training us with new kinds of behavior to do what we're told, to accept this kind of surveillance, to accept these constraints on our civil rights, to allow the government to come in and tell us, you stay at home, you don't go to the beach, you don't send your kids to school, you don't leave your house, and actually accept those kind of orders. One of the companies, he's got many companies that are installing chips that will carry around your medical records, but they'll also be capable of carrying around your other data, so that if a cop pulls you over for speeding, he can scan you and look at your criminal record, look at your buying history, see if you've been to a liquor store recently, And do we really? And then he's got another Microsoft just patented a chip system that is a biometric subdermal sensor system. So it will actually be able to sense brain waves and body signals like heart rate, etc. And it will assign you tasks. In other words, you will get a message on your.
All right, let me stop this for a second. Sorry, I have some technical difficulties here. Let me. All right, sorry about that. Okay, well, we're gonna stop in there. But basically, what he's trying to get at is that this is the age in which everybody's competing with Yud He Vav He. Yud He Vav He means the work of revealing the connectedness of all living things. So that's the name. And the name Yud He Vav He, which we translate to Lord or Adonai, the meaning of his name is the work or the task of revealing the connectedness of all activities, or the connectedness of all the living. So the job of the operation of revealing the connectedness of all the living, that's exactly what these great technocrats, like Bill Gates, all the people that want to do. They want to harvest all the data of people's habits of shopping so they will know how everybody's connected to their desires. So that's why the Bible is very important. Your desires are very important because that's really all you get to know in this world. What are your desires? And the people that are into social engineering, their work are constructing something inside of your mind. See, it's all had to do a certain design of wantedness. If you have a spirit of wantedness, then you are trained to listen and to learn words just so you can know the sound and identify with a picture here in this realm of the dust. Know the word car and identify with something that looks like a car, physical car. Okay, so they will teach you a word for the sake of its appearance. Okay, so you learn the word of a car, so you just learn the appearance of a car. So you're only a consumer. You're only harvested and trained to be a consumer. Because as a consumer, you will have the desire for the objects of the dust. Okay, but if you're going to be a producer of cars, then they teach you the apparatus, how it works and how it's put together. That's the apparatus. So you learn the word by learning the apparatus. You learn how to put it together and how to assemble and all that. So that's what God is concerned with. God wants you to learn a word and to learn the apparatus, to learn the operation of that word and how to assemble things and all that the activities that it takes to make that car be a car. So you are trained to be a producer of cars. So when you learn a word as a wholesome word, then you learn the apparatus. You learn the function and not just the appearance. And so, but this thing, we have been trained in our society to just learn words so we know the appearance of things. So we go after those things. And that, therefore, is the attachment. So we are just, raising the farm of consumerism, if you please. And the cult of consumerism, I call it. And here, what you get in this, what you have nowadays, this 100 years ago, what you had then, now when you had the only difference, 100 years, from 100 years ago, what you have now, you have 1 million desires more than if you lived 100 years ago. Because now there are millions of products more than there were 100 years ago. Every little gadget and everything that people come up with, and they tell you, you have to have it. You got to get the latest of this. So as a consumer, you just increase in the size. So you're a millionaire in multiple needs because they tell you, you need to have this. You need to get this. And so your desire increases, okay? And as long as you have too many desires, if you're rich in desires that cannot be fulfilled, that's how you get sick. That's why it's important that you listen to the desires of your maker. Because your maker's desires are always fulfilled. His desires are never thwarted. Contrary to what people will have you believe, the God of the Torah knows what he's doing. And especially the one of the Deuteronomy chapter 28, exactly what all the wicked are doing at this hour, he is behind all of this, because he said that this retarded garden was going to exist for the express purpose of getting rid of those that do not want to abide in his mindset and understand his thoughts of completeness, so that they're not here in this world to get anything out of it, because they're complete in the Dabar, in the word of their maker. So if you don't happen to have that set of a mindset inside of you, then you are of that mindset, then this retarded garden is just for you, for the sake of making you a millionaire in desires. And whenever those desires are not fulfilled, that's how you feel like your hope is going away. You feel the pain of middle age. You get to the point, a certain point, like I haven't accomplished anything. You get depressed early in life. Your hope is gone out of you because you become trained to be a multimillionaire in desires and wishes that were never fulfilled. All right? But if you know what you were made for, and I'll give you a little reference to that. We're going to look at, let me look at this one here, the Blue Bible. All right, in the Blue Bible here, the word desire, by the way, is tahava. I'll show it to you here. And it only comes out 20 times. We happen to be in 2020, right? So that we're studying the word tahaba. Tahaba is made with a tab, the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and the letter aleph, and the word for connectedness, and the word for breath. Okay? So it means the commitment or resignation to the strong connectedness of the spirit, because breath is ruach or spirit, and it's also for animation and revelation. So it's to the strong. So the desire means you have a strong, you have a commitment to a strong connection to the spirit. You have a commitment to the strong connection of the essence of something. Okay, so that's what desire is translating to, is tahava, desire, and it's 20 times in the Bible. Okay, and there's one song that I had composed, and until today that I was making this lesson that I understood, I connected that verse, because I even made it into a song because it was fascinating to me, but I did not have the understanding. But let me share it to you today. So from Proverbs 19, here we go, 19:22. The COVID-19 man, right? And 22 are the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. All right. So in Proverbs 19:22 it says, the desire of a man is his kindness, and a poor man is better than a liar. Okay. So the desire of a man is his kindness, and a poor man is better than a liar. Okay. For a long time I was wondering, what does that have to do with the desire of a man is his kindness? So the desire of a man is what is good for him. What does him good, right? And a poor man is better than a liar. How is those two things connected? And for a long time I was wondering, but so I made a song. The desire of a man is his kindness, and a poor man is better than a liar. So I will not forget this verse. So a long time ago, but I thought I was trying to understand until today it made me perfect sense. Okay. Or what they were talking about, all right? And what is referring to is the desire of a man. So like if you are rich in a lot of desires, that means you're going to want a lot of things. And then when you don't get those things, because there's too many things that this world tells you, you need to have this, they want you to desire the new car, the desire a new house, to desire the most beautiful woman, desire all kinds of things, and you know you're not going to get them, But at least you hopefully you get some of them, and when you don't get them, your heart, you're sick at the heart, and that's the whole thing. It sickens you. So the whole idea to get a lot of desires that are not fulfilled is not good for the heart. Okay, and it tells you that right here. Look at this verse right here. It says, okay, look at verse Proverbs 13:12 right here. It says, hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life. So when you get your desire, it's like you're full of life, You have a tree of life. You have something that keeps you going. You have something that keeps you animated. Okay? So it's good to have a desire that can always be fulfilled. Therefore, you will be full of life and full of encouragement to live your life on a daily basis. So it's important to get that desire. So really, then the way I connected this is when you are with your maker, your desires are very little, because when you're in love with your maker, you're in love with Ab, with the Father, Aleph Beth. That's what the alphabet means, Father. When you're in love with the alphabet, which means the meaning of the Father, the strong house, then you just want to be in that strong house. That's your desire, because that house is the house of schematics, the house of the blueprints, the floor plan, the house that reveals, everything of how he put the whole world together. And so you are in this school of the Torah, the teachings orderly regulating all humanity. You go to that. That is your strong house. You see, that is your alphabet, and you stay there so you can understand how everything works. And the reason why I tell you that, I'm going to show you. Because you don't have to have that many desires. You can only have one, and what that one desire is the God desire, because that's the echad. One, that's also for the word echad, which is going to be the meaning of the name of God in Zechariah, chapter 14, verses 9. In that day, the Lord shall be one king, and his name shall be one, echad. So your desire shall only be one, too. What is your number one godly desire? The desire that is the God of your desires. Okay, that's what so that's why you can be the poor. You need to be poor in the desire that you don't have that many desires. You only have one, but that's the key desire to have, because you're going to get it fulfilled all the time. And because it's always fulfilled, you're always happy. You're always encouraged. You're always animated. You're never under the threat of being in anxiety or being depressed or anything, because that desire is always fulfilled. And without realizing, that's the desire that I have made it the number one in my life for a long time, and I had not even realized that had been my desire for a long time, Many things have come to be offered to me, but I had not wanted it, because that was not part of my wish list of what I needed to do. My wish list was very minimal, okay? And it's the same one that David had, as a matter of fact. Let me show it to you from this Sword of the Lord here. All right, let me get back to where I was live here with you guys. All right, okay. All right. Oh, Brian, you got in? Okay. Yeah, man, I don't know. I just went ahead and I'm using the same program, because what the heck? I don't know what to do with this anymore. I tried so many different things. But in any case, let me read to you guys the desire, the one ruling desire that David had, right? Look at this. Psalm 27, verse 4. It says, "One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple." Okay, so let me just remove but this desire here is also translated as ask. One thing have I asked, because when you desire something, you're going to request, right? So let me remove it, just put it with the letters, so easy. One thing, that's one, is ehad, because I put this, you see that one here? That's ehad, right there, on top of this, you'll see. On top is the ehad. That's what it means. That's ehad, one, okay? So let's go back to this. All right, so ehad, there's one thing. There's one, ehad have I desire, because the thing is in italics, which means it's not in the original. Ehad, one have I desire of the Lord. Ehad have I desire of the Lord, or have I asked of the Lord. One, and that will I seek. Only one is the thing that I want, and that's what I'm going to go after. And what is that? What is his desire? He wants to dwell in the house of the Lord. The Lord's house, what does that mean? The Lord's strength, right? The Lord's house is the word Father. Again, he wants to be in the Lord's house. He wants to be in the Father. That's one thing he has desire, to be in the Lord's house. The Lord is the strength of his life. He wants to be in the Father, Aleph Beth. He wants to be in the alphabet. Okay? And he wants to be there all the days of my life, all the time. He wants to be the Torah that reveals the strong house. That is the house, that has been a dwelling place throughout all generations, he says also in another verse, in another chapter. He says, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. Again, the Lord and his temple. The temple is a house again, right? So everything about being in the Aleph Beth, that is the desire, to understand the mindset of the Father. Isn't that beautiful? When you think about it. So he was poor in his desire. He didn't have a lot of desires like the world teaches you to have a lot of desires, and therefore your desires are deferred. I mean, they hardly ever happen, because you desire the new iPhone, you desire the latest You know, like I got me, and let me show you what I got. I'm trying to show you. Okay, let's see. I got this little projector. I don't know if you can see it here. Look how small it is, but a little tripod in there. But it's 5,000 lumens, this little thing. Amazing, you know. And but I bought it because sometimes I won't be able to go into, and I was thinking maybe I have this and I can just, you know, put it in the back of my screen and I can be teaching it, my computer screen, when I'm not able to have access to my own computer, just to my face. So that's the little thing to be precautious with, because I'm in a fasting period. You know, I don't get to eat that much or order food anywhere. So, hey, the money that's being saved is being used for this ministry, you know, to prepare me to do better things. So, hey, so praise Adonai for that. So this is a little thing. But I wasn't even planning. I just thought, and because I'm doing this thing and I'm able to afford it, it just came to pass with not too much desire. But I just want to do things that will make it easier for me to communicate the message that I want to communicate. I want you to be with me in this, you know, in the temple of the Lord, to behold His beauty and His understanding, and that's the thing. So when you are in the Father, you know, the Aleph Bet, like that's the desire. But this world wants you to have 1,000 and 1,000,000 desires, and so what these people of the farmers of consumerism, where you've been raised in the farm of consumerism, with the mindset that you need to desire this and you need to have this. So there's 1,000,000 desires and 1,000,000 wishes, and therefore you're always discouraged. You're always bummed down because every day there's a brand new thing that you need to get, a new gadgetry that you have to have, you know. And it's amazing. I had never desired to have all these things, but I have all kinds of stuff like spy glasses and everything like that, because I needed to use them as my ministry to record things and everything. And, you know, the job was provided and the money was provided by the work that was given, so I could get those things to do this middle ministry. So to do the ministry of revealing the Torah, you know, He has given me He has made it very easy for me to get, you know, from this thing to all the things that I have gotten. But everything has to do because I enjoy being in His Word, and I also enjoy revealing it. All right, so that's one of the things that we need to understand. All right. Okay. Brian, if you're still around, tell me if he's still buffering too much tonight, you know, because I don't know how bad this thing is going, to tell you the truth. But okay, and so that's what we're looking at today. So VAV is the connectedness. Okay, so we're gonna look at the connectedness, like I told you. Let me take myself out here for a minute. All right. Let me see if anybody else is in here. All right. Okay. All right. I know it's late tonight, but you know, so I'm not working tomorrow. Tomorrow I can get to sleep as long as I want, so I'm staying a little long. But I'm gonna share something with you here. Let's see, because today we're talking about VAV, like I said. Okay, fine. Okay, I'm gonna play a little bit of a video, and tell me if you can see the video. Okay, Brian, if you are still on the line, help me with that, because I didn't finish playing this. I'm gonna try play about a minute more of the video here, because this video is talking about the thing that Bill Gates is using, you know, to connect society right now, you know, with everything. So they call it the connectedness of things. And I'm playing this because that deals with the word VAV, for connections and connectedness. So let me play this and tell me if you can hear the video or if it's frozen when I play it, all right? I just want to see if this is getting better or not. I'm going to play it right now.
To do certain tasks. And your task will be look at a certain ad when it appears on TV in 30 seconds. Listen to this music. Walk down this aisle in this grocery store, and then it will monitor your EEG, your brain waves, your heart rate, your adrenaline, all of this kind of stuff, and it feeds that information to marketing companies, and you then get paid for doing that task with cryptocurrency that goes directly into your account. So, these companies like Elon Musk, who also controls all the satellites, and Gates, are going to be putting us all out of business. Half the people in this country make some of their living driving a car. Well, now they're going to give us, these driverless cars, and you're going to have a lot of Americans who are permanently unemployed, and they're going to, want these chips because you can make money by doing these tasks, by playing a video game or whatever. And it's basically a process of turning us all into production units, all into enslaved consumers, and with total surveillance all the time. Here's another chip which will turn off your ovaries, and wirelessly. Well, I'm not making this up.
Okay, but this is all that he's talking about. All this thing that's coming with all the technology of our time, all that is being done, for the sake of connecting everything. This I can watch the video as this. It's moving and I can hear it. It's not smooth though. Okay, but at least it's moving. Well, okay, it's a little better. I noticed that if I stay in this screen where you guys are, that then it moves better than if I get out of it. So I'm trying to stay here in this screen as much as I can. So I'm trying to figure this out as I go. So thank you for your patience, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate your help there. Let me go here for a second. I'm gonna have to step out of this. Let me see if I can bring. All right, let me go to the folder for today. All right, here we go. Put myself in the back. You guys back in here, and I'll put the folder in here. All right, so this is the folder that has the information here that we're looking at. Okay, let me move myself from the screen here. All right. And so, like I said, the VAV, which is this letter here, we put it in here. All right. Good. Which is the sixth letter. All right. Which is the one here in the corner, the number 6 VAV, which is the picture of a peg or a nail. It is something to secure, add, to connect. So the good representatives for this are the word network represents a VAV because that's connections, and the connectedness is also represents VAV because that's the function. You want to know in this world the connectedness of things. So that's why God, reveals himself as the Yud Het Vav He, and he has a Vav in there. Yud means the work. He means, to reveal or to animate. So the work of revealing the connectedness of quickedness, or the quick, or those that are alive. So the job of revealing the connectedness of the quick, or those that are alive, or all the activities, that's the representation. You see, that's the representation of Yud Het Vav He. And that's what you do in a company. You make a product, and everybody that you hire into your company, if you are the owner of a corporation or a CEO, every employee you teach them, your job is to reveal to them how the things connect in your operations, all the connectedness of the operations. So that's what a boss does. He has the job of showing the connectedness of all those operations. You see that? You're going to go a job, and the boss is going to show you the connectedness of all his operations, the connections, how everything is connected, everything is put together. And that's the word Yud Het Vav He. That's it, that employment of revealing that. Because Yud Het Vav He, that's exactly what he means. The work is Yud, and the work of revealing the connectedness of activities, because that's activity or animation. So the work of revealing the connectedness of everything that's all of all that's active and working, of all the living. And so that's the word Yud Het Vav He, okay? And that's the meaning of Adonai, or Lord. So it's the activity that keeps things alive and working and produced. And the economy that I'm using it for was the original economy, which is just to reveal the character of your maker. He made everything complete, and we were supposed to live in a mindset of completeness. That there's nothing else that is needed. Well, besides the 300,000 edible plants, that he made for our care, What else can you do to make better? And of that, we are being, refrain of 20 of those. I'm just making sure I'm here. So that's the whole idea. So we're dealing with connectedness now. Okay, so this is very important because you can see that the whole world is right now in this form of consumerism because the elites have fooled themselves. They feel like gods when they think they know, in sneaky ways, by putting a little chip in here, by putting cameras in your computer, by putting cameras in your phone and your speakers and everything, microphones that act like ears and record everything you say, and by selling you Alexa, giving you Siri or whatever, and all these little things that you speak to, they collect all the information. They know what you like to eat, they know what you like to drink, and all of that is harvest. And all this, they have sneaky ways of collecting all your information, so you think you have privacy, but you don't, because this whole cloud technology is full with ears, full with eyes and ears, that all the elites can look at you and they feel, we are like gods in our castle because we know what a little, farm animal is doing, animals of consumerism are up to. We can tell their thoughts because, we can monitor. So it makes them feel like gods. Elites has the word EL in there, like Elohim. And though they feel like gods because they are the elites, right? But that's also deceiving themselves because that's not what makes the real God a God. God is a God because he controls everything, I mean everything, my friend. He controls every movement of your eye. He controls every beating of your heart. He controls every molecule of air that's coming into your nostrils. He controls the movements of the sun. He controls the movement of all the insects. That all the world of insects, when compared to the weight of the flesh of man, is 35 to 1. So there's 35 more weight of insects in the world, just insects alone. They weigh 35 more times than all the flesh of humanity upon the face of the earth. So imagine, that's a big, gigantic world of insects out there, and man has no control over that. Only God controls their activities. So there's a lot of things that God controls without your consent or mine. He's not waiting for us to tell him how to do his job. So there's a lot of things. Every beat of our heart, he controls it. Whenever we want to form a thought, he makes it happen. So I cannot explain to you how I form a thought, but he's got the mathematics and the knowledge behind it. All I know, and all of you and I know in this world, is to desire something. So we have desires, and certain things are done when we have the right motor skills in our body. If you don't have Parkinson's disease or multiple sclerosis, and all your organs are well coordinated, and your hands move wherever you want them to move, they don't shake like out of control, all of that, he is making it happen, okay? Because you just desire to move a certain way and to do certain things, and they just happen. You just have the desires. So God is just making it happen. He's the one behind everything because everything belongs to him. And when he says the eyes of the Lord are everywhere, beholding, every good and every evil, what do you think those eyes are? Your own eyes. Your own eyes are his property. It's not like the body and everything that you have, it's not like you bought it from him. You are, borrowing from him while you exist upon this creation. Nothing is yours. The cattle on 1,000 hills and all flesh and all creation is his. All right? So the only thing you get to have in this world, and that you get to know it's your desire. You have a desire to this, and it happens. So when we are in our body, we have a desire for our body to move a certain way, to do certain things, to eat this, to that. And those desires are within our reach. And we can do them if you don't have Parkinson's disease or other disease that don't allow your motor skills to work with your mind. But when it comes to things that you desire to do outside of the body, like you want to have control over a certain situation, control over certain people, or control over this piece of land, or control over when you desire things outside of you, and they don't always happen, that's when you get frustrated, okay? But when you walk in the desires of your maker, like David did, he just wanted to be in the house of the Lord. I mean, he wanted to be learning Torah 24/7, all the days of his life. Because like I say, the Torah has 304,805 sequences of the Hebrew letters. Okay, and that is the garden of life for our soul. So that's where David wanted to be. Ehad. That was the desire. The desire, that what he was asking, he was from his desire to be in the house of the Lord. That means the strong tower, right? To be in the Father. He wanted to be in the olive bed, okay? And so that's the main thing. So let me explain something to you now when it comes to this connectedness, okay? Because this is exactly what it needs to have. In the book of Malachi, I'm going to share this thing from. Okay, let me get this picture out of the way. Let me bring the sword of the Lord back again. All right. Okay. From the sword of the Lord here, I'm going to go to Malachi. All right. Malachi chapter 4. All right. It says here in chapter 4, Malachi 4:5, behold, I will send you Elijah, or Elijah, Eliyehu, it says in Hebrew. But I'll read it to you in a minute. Behold, I will send you Eliyehu, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And that's he, who is he? And Eliyehu, that's Elijah, and Eliyehu shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers. Now let me reveal to you right now, let me open up with the King James like this, so you will see behind each letter the meaning of each one in Hebrew. And he referring to Eliyahu, and Eliyahu, I'll tell you the letters. Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet Eliyahu. And those are the different way. You can see that Eliyahu and Elijah, those are the way to say it in the Hebrew. So I want to tell you in a minute what Eliyahu stands for, what's the meaning behind his word, okay? And then we're going to connect this whole thing. We're going to connect, because I'll tell you what heart is. Heart is lev, right? Lev is just the lamed and the beth, which means the guidelines or the instructions of the floor plan, or the guidelines or instructions of the schematics, or the guidelines or the instructions of the house, or the guidelines or the instructions, of the blueprint. All of that signifies lev, heart. And the father just means strong tower. H1 is the father. The strong house, okay, or the strong schematics, or the fortifying floor plan. All of that represents the father. And then it says to the children, and children is Ben. Ben is the house and the end, which means the house continuation, because that's what a son is. A son is the continuation of the house. If the father is the strong house, the son is the one that causes the house to continue. The house in continuation. So that's the name son means, okay? The house is continuation or preservation, because he keeps the house going. So that's how, that's how simple it is explained in Scripture. So knowing those words, I'm going to take you now to something that I wrote in Corel Draw. Here, perfect, we go. Okay. Oh, no, that's not. Let me see if I put it in here. Sorry, that's not the one I was looking for. What did I do? Sorry about that. Oh, I didn't put it in here. Let me look 1 second. Give me a second, because I did this. I gotta look for it. Did I print it out? No, I didn't. Oh, here it is. Here we go. Now let me get you back. All right, Malachi. Here we go. Oh, once you minimize this, so it helps to have everything in front of the Facebook page, right? Because otherwise, it kind of freezes. It's interesting. So I'm finding and learning. So thank you for that observation, man. It helped me out. In any case, let me put the thing that we're looking at here. So Malachi. All right. So this explains that what is hidden in that message. That's why it's a beautiful thing to know the Hebrew, because it's a code. It's like a programming language. You know, it tells you a story. It tells you the story. But if you go to the language, then you find what is being said in there, because God is a programmer. You know, so the Hebrew letters as also a schematic, a floor plan, a blueprint. So I use it that way. So I read it that way. You know, it's not in vain that I went to, after I graduated from high school, I went to Control Data Institute and learned COBOL and Fortran and RPG. And then when I went to USC, I was learning Pascal, because I was learning, computer science. So I was learning programming languages and stuff like that. Then I learned a little bit of HTML. I did my first website with that. Preacher.com, I did it with that. So I've been learning programming for a little while. So, because little did I know that I was going to come to the program or the blueprint of creation, which is the Torah. And that's what I'm teaching you, the Aleph Bet. So you will be in the Echad, the one desire, of David, and not be bummed down all the time, and be healthy all the time, because your desires is going to be fulfilled. When you go there to the house to understand how things are set up, my man, my woman, all of you are going to be so happy, because so much understanding is going to be cleared up for you. And that's things. If you understand what's going on, you're not going to be perplexed and afraid about anything. So this is the two verses. It says, behold, I will send you Eliyahu. Okay, I'm reading now from here. Behold, I will send you Eliyahu. And so Eliyahu is the Aleph in the front, then the Lamed. It has the Jud, okay, and the Ah for the breath, and the U is for the Vav. So it has all these letters, Eliyahu. So when you put those letters together, it means the fortifying teachings of the task of the reveal activated connectedness. That's the name Eliyahu. So before the great day of the Lord, when God is going to reveal who He is, before the great day, and He's going to do away with everything that brings offense to His revelation and to His representation, which is, now we're in those times, by the way. So before that, He's going to bring these teachings, because Eliyahu is an operation. Everything, like Yud He Vav is an action, it's an activity. I show you, Yud He Vav means the job or the operation of revealing the connectedness of all the living. So that's an activity. When God says that He's Yud He Vav, He's revealing you an activity to keep life going. So God is in all the activity that makes life happen. And so everything that deals with that is something that is alive and making things happen. So it says, behold, I will send you Eliyahu. That's key, that's coded. That's the code that means the fortifying teaching of the task of the reveal activated connectedness. And that's what I have received. And that's what I'm bringing you now. And that's bringing you now in this very week, where most people began first grade and kindergarten. They started this week. So I started, and I told you that a lot of these people go to learn the alphabet, which means father, and they never get the mindset of the father. It's never delivered to them. So I am teaching you the alphabet this week. I'm starting it this week. I was just thinking of doing the fast because there was 22 days left, to finish this month. When I started, I said, so I dedicate this to the letters of the alphabet. And then all of a sudden I realized this week that all these kids were going to school to learn the alphabet. The alphabet. And hey, so perfect. So what am I doing with this? I'm giving you the fortifying teaching, the strong teachings of the job or the task of the reveal activated connectedness. I'm trying to teach you that. As a matter of fact, this is part of what I'm doing right now. So then in verse 46, so it says, and He shall return. It says, so He shall turn. The word turn is shubah, okay, or shub. And that's actually, it means to press or adhere or stick to the connectedness of the floor plan. That's to turn. That's the meaning turn. It has shub, it has the shin, and it has the vav, and it has the bet. Shub, it has those three letters. So, and then the floor plan to the instructions of the blueprints. Instructions of the blueprints, you know what that word is? Heart. Heart is Lamed and Beth. It's the guidelines of the house, and now can actually be translated as the instructions of the house or as the teachings of the house. All of that is heart. Also, the house is also represented by a floor plan, so I call it, because I'm looking at the code here. We're looking at the schematics, plans, floor plans, blueprints, all of that, because all of that give you the guidelines of the whole setup of the structure. So a blueprint is a house because it gives you all the connections to everything. Schematics, they are the same. So I use that terminology because those are representations of a house. So the instructions of the blueprints is the heart. The leading schematics, what is that? The strong tower, that's the father. Of the father to the houses, structures of buildings, continuation. So the houses continuation was that what? That's the son, Ben. Okay? And the guidelines of the blueprints, what's that again? That's heart. Of the house, of the children to the father. So the whole thing is this. And he will turn, the heart of the father to the children, and the heart of the children to the fathers. Okay? So when you read that, and Eliyahu says, so he will send the fortifying teachings of the task of the revealed activity of connectedness. And these fortifying teachings of the task of the revealed activity of connectedness shall press or adhere or stick the connectedness of the floor plan to the instructions of the blueprints of the leading schematics to the houses or structures of buildings continuation or conservation, right? And the guidelines of the blueprints of the houses or structures and buildings continuation to the leading schematics. What does that mean? I see this happening in my own company. Okay, they have a manual that we have to take a compliance test every year to make sure that we know the rules of privacy rules and everything that has to do with our job as we do our jobs. And every month, as we do our jobs, they are monitoring. And there's somebody that calls us every month and tells us, how we're doing according to the guidelines, how our job's supposed to be done. And we say, meeting expectation, above expectation, excelling expectations. And they give you a grade because those are the people that bring you back to the leading schematics. So the leading schematics is the manual that they give us to how to do our job. That's the house for which the floor plan of the house. We learn that is given to us, and then we take that, and so we have the business, we handle the continuity of the business because we know that. And then the people come and make sure, which are the quality management, those are the heart of the company because they make sure they are the ones, they are the guidelines of the blueprints. They're making sure they're guiding the blueprints. Those are the people, the quality managers that are listening to our calls, and they are making sure that what we're doing matches up with the leading schematics, you see? So this whole thing is a process of how to keep a company flourishing and working successfully year after year. This company been in business for over 30 years now, and it's the leading one. It's the first one that started the translation companies. So it's the number one company translating with over more than 200 languages in the world. And so, but in order to have a successful company like that, you have to keep this whole thing of what it takes. So this is what's going to happen to be able to be in the heart of the Father. And I've already started, okay? So, it's wonderful to see. If you have that understanding, you get behind the code, and then you can read it as the programmer, and you can read the mindset of the maker. And then you find out that this is exactly what all companies do that are successful. They do exactly that. They have the fortifying teachings of the task of reveal the activated connections. Yeah, they teach you that, how things are connected, how things are put together, and then those teachings that they give you is to press you, to force you to adhere and to stick to that connectedness of the floor plan, of the instructions of the blueprints of the leading schematics, so that you are able to be the son, you are able to be the house conservation or the continuation of the house. What a son is. And then the heart, stuff that the guidelines of the blueprints, which is the heart of the business, to adhere to those blueprints, of what you've learned, is checked up, is to match with the leading schematics. So you're made up to make sure that you are in line with, and that's how business works. Everything has to be fine-tuned. Everything has to be in line with what was given to you. And as long as those things there are checks and balances for that, a company continues to exist. That's why America is hardly, there's hardly any true America left. You understand what I'm saying? Because most Americans, the average American does not know the Constitution by heart, does not know the Bill of Rights by heart. I happen to have to learn that because I had a job that tells me that I have to translate, for the immigration department that gives the citizenship. So I was forced to learn that even though I was never looking to be a citizen here, I was happy to be just a permanent resident because I'm in the Torah. That's my forever residence. To me, that's my only true home. That's my Aleph Beth, where I live all my time. And so, but because this job required that, I happen to be more American than a lot of you that are born here. Because I was forced, because of my job, to learn the Constitution and to learn the Bill of Rights because I have to translate those things, when I do my job. Okay? But if you don't know the thing, then you do not know what a nation stands for. Just because you're born in a piece of dust, that doesn't make you something. You have to know what it stands for, the ideals and the concepts that they wanted to project, that the forefathers of this place wanted to project onto the land. And then if they're not manifesting out of you because they're not in you, there's no America left. You're only consuming away the land, and none of America is being left and being portrayed. But every successful country that exists and is not being violated by anybody or no invaders is because they know what they represent. They know their Bill of Rights. They know exactly the moment when somebody is violating the Bill of Rights, and nobody, messes with them. Okay? But because nobody knows it nowadays, that's why the retarded leaders of the retarded garden can walk into your house and tell you when to go home, when to do this and when to do that, because you have no idea when your rights were violated because you never memorized them. So it's important to have the connectedness, okay? And so it was first given to us to understand the mindset of the maker. So I already spelling it out for us here. I'm putting it out in written form. So this will be the teachings that will be given eventually. Okay, but they're here, I already been abiding in this, and now I'm come to this point that this is the year that I think was suitable for me to come out and start teaching you the things, because all of a sudden, all the other churches, they went to their homes and didn't have nothing to say. They didn't have nothing to rebel against. They were afraid of a 40 nanometer virus, instead of being afraid of their Adonai. Let not thine heart envy sinner, but be thou in the fear of the Lord all the day long. Because everything else that you fear outside of God, you have given him the respect that is due to God, and that you have made it an idol. No, not an ounce of your fear should be given to anything else other than your maker. If any amount of fear is given to anything else, God is jealous of that, because he is the only one that needs to be respected. Then you're accrediting to something else, something that only God does. What does God do? He kills and he makes alive. He wounds and he heals. I alone do all these things, and I give my glory to no one. So if you're afraid of something else because it can kill you, or you're happy with something else because it can heal you, guess what? You have found an idol outside of God, and you have become an idolater. Because you should only be looking at your maker. He is the only one that heals, and the only one that kills. He is the only one that wounds, the only one that makes alive, and the only one that kills, and the only one that wounds, and the only one that heals. So that we should not be looking at anything else. Okay? So whenever you tremble at somebody else telling you something that, so get the hell out of here. What do you mean you tell me there is something other than God that can kill me? If God wants me killed, he'll kill me with anything he wants me to, but that's in his plan. And he wants me alive. He's the one that keeping me alive by the understanding and the knowledge that he has given me. All thing is his glory. I don't have anything else to look at. Everything else is a distraction to make you look at something else. And if they have made you stumble and make you look at something else so you can walk away from the Aleph Beth, from the Father, they have successfully, taken your heart away from your maker, and you need to repent, which means was to repent, to adhere to the connectedness of the house. That's to repent. To press and to attach yourself to the connectedness of the house, to the Aleph Beth. Okay, so don't pay attention to anybody else. So these are deep teachings, So I'm recording them so you can have access to them all the time. I'm also putting them in YouTube so we can all enjoy them as well. All right. So I know this was a more longer one, but I thought I'll share with you guys. So I thank you, Brian, for all the help and the input you gave me, and I think that was very helpful. All right. So I'm going to say hello now because a whole hour now. But I'm glad I was able to share this with you. So God bless everybody that gets to listen to this. May the Lord open your understanding.